Oh, hey, how's it going, guys? Hopefully, this will be my last video before Saturday. I wanted to take a couple minutes to get into some of the frequently asked questions that we've been seeing pop up on the interdepartmental chat, in emails to us about who we are, why this is happening, what's going on with the relationship between the hall and what we're doing here. So I'm just going to get right into it. Who are the joint chairs? I've introduced myself. My name is Kay Curley. I work on the call sheet in IATSE 891 as Christina Curley. That's my legal name. And my fellow chairs, my joint chairs, are Grace Delahante from Governance, who you'll be seeing at the event tomorrow, and Jose Carrillo. And we also have another committee chair who unfortunately was asked to not be named or continue to participate by IATSE 891 because they are a staff person as well. And while they're currently disputing that in their union, and I totally support them as a steel worker and as an IATSE worker in disputing that, that's just the way things are right now. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but we've been working together on this since August 16th, when a few of us got together for a couple pints in Port Moody, and we were trying to talk about different ways that we can engage the membership and get folks participating in our democracy a little bit more. Our elections are decided by about 25% of our membership, and that's not a really good thing. There's never a perfect time for democracy, and a lot of people get disenfranchised when they see things not going their way. But the only way to really change that is to show up. So we're trying to find new ways to reach out to people, and post-COVID, it's really hard to do that, actually. We used to elect our leaders from the general meetings, and now we have an online process. So we set up this event because we really feel the need for our members to reach out and connect with people. And as a health trustee, wearing my other hat, one of the things I learned from our surveying of our members is that our members really want to have face-to-face connections with people. We trust the people we work with, the people we spend 16 hours a day, sometimes 70 hours or more a week with. And we trust when they refer us to things, when they make recommendations, when they talk about what's important to them. So having these opportunities for face-to-face connection are really important. And we just want to create more of them. So why all of a sudden with this? And I feel like I touched on that a little bit. Initially, we called this a debate, but some folks, including some of the candidates, thought that that was maybe a bit too combative. A lot of other unions have open floor elections like we used to, where their members can get up and walk to a microphone and just, say what they say needs, or what they think needs to be said at the microphone. And some of our elected officials embrace that, and some of our candidates and elected officials have experienced a lot of harm because people say things and do things that violate the code of conduct that can be really caustic. And even though we have strong emotions and we care a lot about what's going on, and some things are very upsetting and legitimately upsetting, it does a lot of harm overall to the democratic process when people feel like they can't be safe and be transparent in the same room. So we're trying to elevate the discourse a little bit. We took questions from the general membership, and it was a little challenging to do that because we didn't have access to emailing them, the general membership, but we did the best we could through putting out requests through e-com, through putting out requests through the interdepartmental chat to gather questions from the membership. And we went through them as a group, the joint chairs and myself, and we picked the best questions that we could find that I think will generate really good responses and detailed responses from the candidates. And we sent those to the candidates on Wednesday. So our candidates have had some time to prepare. Now, not all unions go through this process exactly the same way. And I think it's important to touch on the fact that there's many different ways that the debate or a Q&A session can go down. In some unions, the candidates will come to different production centers. In government unions, that can be like going from BC Hydro to ICBC, and then each worksite office will host a gathering of shop floor members to come in, and there's a component of pre-asked questions that are moderated, and then there's a component of open mic. And so in structuring this event, what we really wanted was a chance for our candidates and our members to get together in the same room. Part of that is asking some of those big heavy lifting questions. And the other part of it is just giving everybody an opportunity to talk to each other one-on-one. So after the business rep session and after the president's session, there's going to be a meet and greet session, and the food trucks will be live and hot for that too, so people can come and go as they please. There's some games if you want to bring your family out. We're very conscious that it's a holiday weekend and it's a Saturday, so we're hoping that most people have their big family events planned for Sunday and Monday, and they'll consider coming out for a midday meal with us and getting to know everybody and just interacting and having a good time. The second thing I wanted to touch on that we've been asked a lot about in various forms is conflict of interest. I mentioned I'm a health trustee, and I've mentioned one of our other chairs actually works as a staff person and is what we consider in union land is dual carded. And dual card means in this case that that member has a card with the United Steelworkers, which is our staff union, and with IATSE because they came from the shop floor. So this can make things a little tricky. When we were approaching the Health Trust to ask if they wanted to come out and table this event, and the organizing group, pardon me, we wanted to make sure that our members could get in touch with important folks both in the hall and the Health Trust to create more face-to-face opportunities. And one of the first things we started looking at on the Health Trust end was, would it be a conflict of interest for us to be present as trustees for a sponsorship of that coffee truck, which I'm deeply grateful for. It's going to be great for the people showing up, the membership, and the candidates and the volunteers to have some coffee. So thank you, Health Trust, Ken. And the general process rule, and we chatted amongst ourselves and with our legal team and with our executive director, like our managing administrator, is that as long as the Health Trust is tabling and not actively running as a candidate in the election and not engaging in the process of the Q&A, no conflict of interest. I myself, as a moderator, have been very careful to not publicly endorse any candidates for the election, even though those of you that know me online know that I have some very strong opinions from time to time, because I believe that this process is more important than single endorsements. We need our members to engage, we need our members to vote, and we need our members to come together. So I've held back a little bit on the normal types of commentary that I give about how I feel about things in our political ecosystem in our union, because this is more important. This is bigger than that. So I will be sitting with Grace and Jose as moderator for both panels, and just to help bring this event together. One of the other things we talked about around conflict of interest is who's taking care of this food truck, and that was a big price tag to pay because it's been slow for a lot of us, and a lot of us haven't been working. And we also wanted to make sure that we weren't taking money from members who had endorsed candidates, and we weren't taking money from candidates themselves. And while it would seem like a good idea to ask all the candidates to pitch in, not all candidates could do that. And not all candidates have that capacity. And it would have to be all of them equally in order for it to be fair and not, kind of biased. So to take that out of the equation, and with the understanding that IATSE 891 wasn't willing to fully sponsor this event, the joint chairs got together and opened our wallets, and we're taking care of that. And we've been very careful not to endorse candidates. So we're trying to keep the provisioning of a meal for everyone to share together, with no strings attached and with no paywall, as just part of what we want this event to look like. And again, I'm very grateful for the Health Trust to chip in for the coffee truck. And I think that this is the right way forward. In the future, hopefully, once the elections committee and IATSE 891 sees that these types of events can work and that they're good and they bring people together, I'm hoping that Q&A sessions like this, or maybe even a health trust fair in the future, can be part of just something that we do on a regular basis to connect our membership to our leadership and to the resources that we have and the benefits that we have. So this is a proof of concept event, and I touched on this a little bit in the introduction. The best way to watch will be to come in person. I can't make promises because this is the first time we'll be live streaming. It'll be the first time we've live streamed from the operating engineering hall. So there's a lot of things at play. I have a lot of faith in the technicians that are coming out to volunteer out of their own time to try to make this work. If anybody can pull this off flawlessly, it's these amazing volunteers. So I'm hopeful, but again, I encourage everybody to come down. So there are some questions about this happening very suddenly. There were some objections from within the executive board and other groups about how fast this happened and that there wasn't a lot of time to prepare. And to those objections, we gently countered that a prior elections committee chair actually suggested there was a debate, but they were overruled. So this is not a new idea. This is not a new concept. We've done everything we can through the moderating and the release of the questions to the candidates to make sure that everybody's had ample time and access to prepare, ample time and access to the questions. And we've done everything we can to make this event inclusive and supportive and family friendly and safe. So I don't know what else we could have done. It's tough in a lot of ways to work so hard on your own time with so many talented people to bring a proposal forward and to have other people say it's still not good enough. But it was good that we tried, and it was good that we did the work, and it was good that we asked our union to give us sponsorship, to give us the use of the logo, to give us use of the membership list so we could contact and make an effort to connect with every single member. That didn't happen. That wasn't granted to us, but we did try. And I'm hoping that people will see the turnout reflected and the online reflection of turnout for the live stream as, you know, something that if we do move forward with this in the future, we can do better with, and we can do better if our local stands with us. I'm going to be super on the level with you too as a Dolly Grip. I know that this video right now in my office in the new home that I just moved into that's under construction, not optimal, not very good. I've spent 7 of 10 years looking into a monitor on a screen, and I know that my place is behind the camera, not in front of it. So I'm a little mortified that I'm doing this, but I feel very strongly about transparency and accountability. So I thought I should let you guys all know that we were working hard to bring this together. We've been on it since August. We created an executive summary, a PowerPoint, a detailed event planning tool. We have volunteers. We asked every single member of the executive to stand with us. And some of them did, and some of them did not. And for those who had serious objections, we worked to make sure that there was every type of accommodation. I will say also that one of the objections raised to us is that the International does not record its meetings. And this is considered standard practice and protocol for the International. So one of the misgivings for this is that some candidates did not want to be recorded, period, paragraph. They did not want to live stream, period, paragraph. I and some of the other jointers think this is a huge barrier to accessibility. Given the scheduling constraints, most of the candidates, whether they were incumbent or non-incumbent new candidates, were either working on a show or bargaining or away at conference or doing other work. Trying to find time for us to all get together was incredibly challenging. We did the best that we could. We know it's a holiday weekend. It's not great. But I think it's also important that we tried to do all of this anyways. And when I was growing up, my dad, who's a military guy, had a saying, you either lead, follow, or you get out of the way. And I think that it's worth a thank you that the executive was able to stand up and say, you know what? It's really good that these guys are trying, and it's really good that this is happening. Even though we don't feel like we can sponsor it or support it financially or get directly involved until we see proof of concept that it's successful, we will stay out of the way and we'll let it happen. And I think it shows that every single candidate, except for one candidate, was willing to show up and is scheduled to show up, including one candidate that's going to phone in. So I think that says a lot about the amount of care that my colleagues took in the proposal desk in the planning stages. And I'd like to thank them all. And I'm sorry that I can't thank them all by name. That's hard. I hope we can grow through this and find a more inclusive and proud way of doing this going forward. So if there's more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or comment on the video. And I hope this answers some of the questions that folks have been asking on the interdepartmental chat. And it also gives me a good opportunity to test the video on the channel a little bit too. Thank you all so much for your time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.